Today, we're taking a look at the 2024 thriller, The Bloodthirsty Sheriff. The story begins with the protagonist, Lisa, driving on a deserted highway, heading to meet her boyfriend who lives out of town. Just moments before, she had a heated argument with her father, who accused her of bringing shame to the family by getting arrested for shoplifting, even resorting to physical violence in his anger. In a fit of pique, Lisa left home, intending to move in with her boyfriend. On the way, her sister called, trying to persuade her not to go, saying that her boyfriend was not a reliable person. But Lisa retorted sharply that she would never go home again, no matter what. Passing a gas station along the way, Lisa pulled over to refuel her car. Just then, a man in a police uniform engaged her in conversation. However, his tone was more like an interrogation, making Lisa uncomfortable, so she politely gave some perfunctory replies. Before leaving, he offered Lisa a canned drink, which she politely declined. After he left, Lisa quietly grumbled, "What a strange man." After refueling, Lisa continued her journey. Seeing no other cars ahead, she floored the accelerator. Unexpectedly, a police car was lying in wait by the roadside, and Lisa's speeding was detected. Thus, the police car followed Lisa, eventually forcing her to pull over. After stopping, Lisa quickly tidied her hair and applied lipstick to make herself look presentable, hoping the officer would show pity for her delicate beauty and let her off. The police officer walked over, and it turned out to be the same man from before.
"Oh, hey, officer. Everything all right?"
Sheriff.
Sheriff.
The sheriff stated that Lisa had not only been speeding but also thrown something that broke the police car's siren light. Lisa exclaimed, realizing she was being wronged, "I didn't throw anything at all." The sheriff ignored her, directly issuing her a $1,000 fine. Good heavens, Lisa declared that the fine was far too heavy, and she didn't have that much money. After some pleading, the sheriff said, "All right, just pay for the repair of the siren light, which is $300. Lisa wondered if repairing a mere light could really cost $300. But considering it was much less than $1,000, she agreed. However, Lisa had no cash, so the sheriff informed her that there was an ATM at the gas station they had just passed, suggesting they meet there shortly. Just as Lisa was about to leave, the sheriff suddenly demanded she hand over her phone, stating it was to prevent her from fleeing.
"Isn't it against the law to take my phone?"
Are you telling me the law in my own county?
Although she knew what the officer was doing was wrong, Lisa, under duress of his authority, complied. And so, Lisa returned to the gas station, where she asked the convenience store clerk about the location of the ATM. The clerk replied that the ATM was currently empty, it had no money. Lisa then tried to pay for a drink with her card, but the clerk informed her that her card also had no funds. Well, it seemed she couldn't get any money out to pay the fine now. Lisa asked the clerk about the sheriff, wanting to know if the man was a genuine police officer or a fraud. The clerk replied that he was the most respected sheriff in their town. Lisa was speechless, thinking that he was supposedly most respected, but acted more like a bandit. After leaving the convenience store, Lisa looked around, saw no sign of the sheriff, and decided to continue on her way. At that moment, the sheriff was again lying in wait by the roadside. After Lisa passed, he drove off in pursuit and caught up with her. After both stopped their vehicles, the sheriff questioned her, "Didn't we agree to meet at the gas station? Where are you going?" Lisa explained that the ATM there was empty, so. The sheriff said, "There's a coffee shop and an ATM not far ahead. Go there, and I'll find you later." Lisa outwardly agreed, okay, but in her mind, she thought, "I'm going to get the hell out of this wretched place, even if it means abandoning my phone." And so, Lisa drove away. However, she hadn't driven far when, through her rearview mirror, she saw the sheriff pull out a shotgun and aim it at her. Lisa panicked. What on earth was happening? A bullet blew out a rear tire, causing the car to lose control, swerve, and come to a halt by the roadside. Lisa frantically got out of the car, expecting the sheriff to pursue and apprehend her, but to her surprise, he turned around and drove away. Lisa felt perplexed, yet at the same time, she breathed a sigh of relief. With her car now broken, she had no choice but to walk to a populated area. She began walking forward, and after a long trek, she finally reached the so-called coffee shop. Upon entering the shop, she noticed a stack of change on a front table and, seizing an opportune moment, stealthily stole the money. She then used the shop's public phone to call her boyfriend for help. However, her boyfriend wouldn't listen to her, instead accusing her of why his dozen calls went unanswered, only for a man, the sheriff, to finally pick up. Lisa tried to explain softly, but her boyfriend was too consumed by his fury to properly listen to her. Exasperated, Lisa hung up the phone. Just then, she saw the sheriff arrive outside the coffee shop, and he had even towed her car there. This was bad. How could she get rid of this creep? Should she ask for help from the people inside the shop? Probably not, as they would only believe the police. Lisa had a flash of inspiration. She called the police, falsely reporting a violent incident at the gas station. Sure enough, the very next second, the sheriff received an alert and then departed. After the sheriff was diverted, Lisa went out to check her car and found that the tire had already been replaced. Lisa thought to herself, he damaged my car and then fixed it. What does that mean? Never mind, I won't try to understand this creep's intentions. Although her car was right there, she currently had no car keys, so Lisa had to call her sister for help. Suddenly, the sheriff returned, terrifying Lisa. Unexpectedly, this time the sheriff didn't cause any trouble. Instead, he returned both her car keys and her phone, then left. Lisa breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that perhaps this guy still had some boundaries after all. Since the sheriff had let her go, Lisa no longer sought assistance. After assuring her sister of her safety, she prepared to depart. As she stepped out of the coffee shop, she noticed the waitress sitting outside with a worried expression. Upon inquiring, Lisa learned that the waitress had been fired by her boss because a customer's change had gone missing. Knowing that she was the one who had stolen the money, Lisa felt guilty and decided to offer the waitress a ride. Thus, the two chatted and laughed a lot along the way. Just as they began discussing the sheriff, the waitress was suddenly shot in the head from a distance. Terrified, Lisa burst into tears and ran out of the car, unsure of what to do. Just then, she saw someone driving towards her in the distant wilderness. Her first thought was that the killer was pursuing her, so she quickly got into her car and drove away. Soon, the other vehicle caught up. It was the sheriff. It turned out the sheriff was a murderer. Initially, the sheriff followed closely, occasionally bumping into the rear of Lisa's car. Later, he maintained a distance, following unhurriedly. This continued for several minutes. Lisa's nerves remained on edge. Just then, she spotted a large truck parked by the roadside ahead. She quickly stopped her car, got out, and sought help from the truck driver. Hearing that someone was pursuing her, the driver immediately grabbed a gun and became alert. At that moment, the sheriff suddenly appeared. Lisa told the driver, "He's the one chasing me." The driver exclaimed, "What's going on? A cop chasing you?" The sheriff claimed Lisa was an escaped murderer, and that there was a body in her car, someone she had just killed. Despite Lisa's desperate explanations, the driver was more inclined to believe the man in uniform. Just as the driver lowered his guard, the sheriff shot him dead. Lisa forgot everything else and quickly got into the car to continue her escape. However, the sheriff neither shot at her nor rushed to pursue, preferring to let his prey run further to make it more interesting. Lisa drove on for an unknown distance until smoke began to rise from her car. Coincidentally, there was a car scrapyard nearby, and she decided to get out and hide there. Her phone had no signal there, but she encountered an employee of the scrapyard named Dazhuang. Lisa accidentally injured Dazhuang and proceeded to bandage his wound. Seeing that Dazhuang was not angry or upset and was simply smiling, Lisa felt she had met a good person and was immediately much more at ease. Just then, the sound of a car approached from outside. Dazhuang indicated it was his boss, then stood up and went out to greet him. After Dazhuang left, Lisa went to what Dazhuang had called the restroom, intending to wash up. Upon arriving, she discovered it was clearly not a restroom but a repair shop, filled with various tools. Not only that, Lisa noticed dozens of women's driver's licenses densely hung on the wall. Upon closer inspection, she realized what they were. She immediately had an ominous premonition. Sure enough, the next second, the sheriff appeared. Indeed, the sheriff was Dazhuang's boss. The sheriff stated that those on the wall were all people he had murdered. Lisa was terrified, turned to run, but was knocked unconscious by Dazhuang. When Lisa woke up, she was already bound. The perverse sheriff began to tell his story. From his words, it was clear that he was an extreme misogynist who found pleasure in torturing and killing women. Now, because Lisa had been cursing, he believed her mouth was too dirty and needed to be purified. With Dazhuang's help, the perverse sheriff cruelly cut off Lisa's tongue. Overwhelmed by agonizing pain, Lisa lost consciousness. After an unknown period, Lisa awoke, only to find her tongue missing, leaving her utterly heartbroken and unable to weep. Regardless, survival was now paramount. While the sheriff and Dazhuang were watching television next door, Lisa stealthily slipped out, taking a knife for self-defense. However, she hadn't run far before the sheriff pursued her in his car. The sheriff wished to torment his prey thoroughly and refused to kill Lisa outright. He proposed a game with Lisa. He would leave her a gun, then drive his car to hit her, to see whether Lisa's gun or his car was faster. Of course, when he gave her the gun, the ammunition was separate. Unexpectedly, Lisa refused to cooperate. After the sheriff got into his car, Lisa picked up the gun, loaded it, and then shot herself in the head. Seeing his prey unexpectedly commit suicide, the sheriff was instantly enraged and got out of his car to check the situation. He hadn't realized Lisa was not dead. It turned out she had faked her suicide. The bullet hadn't hit her head, blood had spurted from her mouth. Taking advantage of the sheriff's distraction, Lisa suddenly lunged and stabbed him. The sheriff cried out in pain and lay motionless on the ground. Lisa got into the car and started it. Just as she was about to leave, she suddenly felt she couldn't let this perverse killer get away. So Lisa turned the car around and floored the accelerator, driving straight towards the sheriff. The sheriff raised his gun, intending to shoot, only to discover Lisa had already removed the magazine. In this manner, the perverse sheriff was run over and killed by Lisa. Afterward, Lisa returned to the repair room, picked up her tongue, wrapped it in ice, and intended to take it to the hospital for reattachment surgery. Next, she collected all the victims' driver's licenses, preparing to hand them over to the police as evidence of the sheriff's crimes. At this moment, Dazhuang appeared, but before he could grasp the situation, Lisa preemptively stabbed him through the head. After resolving everything, Lisa drove towards the brightly lit city ahead. Just then, her boyfriend called. Without a word, Lisa threw the phone out of the car, conveying the message, "You weren't there when I needed you most. Now I've overcome everything alone, so what do I need you for?" And so, the film concludes.